Hey, welcome back to Planning to Fail. I am Tim Cox. Today I'm joined by Oli Stening. We're going to be talking about his great web series, Sauceman.
Just one more mouthful closer to death. What the?
So, Oli, Sauceman, great idea, great concept. Can you give us an elevator pitch, a bit of a log line? What can people expect from it?
Yeah, so he's basically an Australian superhero who saves bland food with sauce and people's lives in doing so.
What
Elevator pitch
are his
version.
sauces? What's in his little? He's got like a bat belt of
He's got
sauces.
the Trinity in his belt. So
Yeah.
obviously you've got your tomato, your barbecue, and your mustard, which is sort of your safeguard,
Yeah.
sort of in your belt. But I actually, in later episodes, he actually has the ability to shoot sauce out of the top of his head where that nozzle is,
Yes. Yeah.
which we'll get to. And
Yeah.
he has other gadgets that haven't sort of been released yet that sort of allow him to, create sauce from nothing and shoot it out of the top of his head.
That's great though. That's like you trickle it out. Like
Yeah,
you
exactly.
can't have a superhero show where the superhero has all of their powers on the first episode.
Exactly,
They need to like
exactly.
develop it and
Yeah, start small and then
yeah.
upwards.
What I loved in the first episode was that she's got that bland. Oh god, it really grossed me out. As someone who enjoys flavorful food,
Yeah.
just like that boiled chicken was. But you like got the mayonnaise bowl and you shoot out the mayonnaise, and all of
Yeah.
a sudden it's like just like a perfectly grilled sautéed chicken.
Yeah. Well, also, I was trying to play with that idea. You know how you see like those Macca's ads and you see like the burgers and they just look so like
Yes.
pristine, 100
Yes.
jacks, and they're like, stacked up and you're like, wow, that looks good. Then you get it in the drive-through and it just looks like they've just thrown it in a bag sort of thing. So it's kind of like that, the opposite version,
Yeah.
where it's like you're turning the bad into the good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's terrific.
Why not throw a superhero in?
It's like there's a pissed off 16-year-old back there that's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
like, how can I throw this together as haphazardly as possible?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's someone's job. Not to derail us or anything. That's but not the 16-year-old. I mean like that's like a person's job in the advertising industry to decorate.
Exactly,
food perfectly.
exactly. And I've actually got someone on board who actually creates the nice food and the
Yeah.
great food. Her name's Camille Bergeson. She's like a food stylist in Melbourne. She's great.
Yeah.
But she's like, like I said, she's one of those people that it's like just makes it look so.
Yeah, honestly,
yeah.
I didn't think about it until right now. But when I was watching the second episode and you were fixing that sandwich,
Yeah.
I was looking at it like this is the spitting image of like a Helga's ad.
Yeah.
Where they like stack up the sandwich and they're like, I can't remember what their catchphrase is, but like it looked like a Helga's ad.
Yeah,
Like
exactly,
it looked like
yeah.
a professionally made sandwich for like the picture on the bag.
Yeah, exactly. And there's actually like stands in the sandwich to keep it up like that.
Yes.
Like there's no way you could pick that up and actually eat it and
Because
live
it's
to
full
tell
of,
the tale.
full of plastic and
Yeah,
wooden stuff.
exactly. Yeah.
So talk us through the inception of this idea. Why did you decide Sauceman needed to enter the canon?
I guess I'm always been a foodie at heart. I mean, look at me, I've got a double chin, so I love
Only if you do that.
But I've always loved food, and I had this idea for one of my first short films. It was called No Sauce, and it's basically like sort of a little 5-minute sort of thing where this guy goes on a date with his missus and orders a steak and doesn't get any sauce, and then sort of kicks up a stink. And that character is sort of inherently me in a way. Like I just have always gravitated towards smothering my things in sauce for some reason, just because it does feel a bit tasteless without sauce.
Yeah.
In my opinion, anyway. So yeah, and I've always been a hot sauce fan. I've always been, chasing those extra sort of fireball flavors around So it's just been something for me that's is inherently me, and I wanted to sort of showcase that somehow. And I sort of tweaked with the idea of just having. It started out as like an obsessive man who was just obsessed with sauce, but I felt like that seems a bit more creepy. So then it sort of eventuated into, because we at the moment we're flooded with all these superhero movies and stuff. So I guess that was on the back of my mind too. And then The Boys came out, which I absolutely loved. And that whole premise of sort of taking the superhero idea and trying to shift it in another direction, that I thought that was really creative. And so I sort of worked out an idea of what this creepy man thing could be, turn it into something positive.
Yeah, something that's not necessarily creepy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So on that note, we don't really get an origin. There's only the 2 episodes currently.
Yeah.
We don't really get an origin of who Sauceman is. Is that? Do you think that's coming along of
Yeah.
his origin story and
Well,
how
that's
we got to him?
what I'm hoping for. I mean, the way I created it was I only want to showcase sort of small segments of him in order so that the universe does kind of have the opportunity to build upon and
the cinematic universe
yeah,
of Sauceman.
exactly, in its own way. It's
Yeah.
sort of that's the way I approached it, because everyone's doing that sort of that superhero idea that it can sort of live forever kind of thing, and live off the episodes that you're shown.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to build, which is tough, but yeah, I think I'm doing a right job. I back myself behind it, and I think when you have an idea like this, it's sort of you're very nervous at start putting it out there, and you're unsure of how it's gonna be taken, but you just do it and hope for the best.
Yeah. How did you kind of put it all together? I mean, like I have a million other questions about the cinematic universe. Maybe we'll come back to that. But but more importantly, like how did you put it all together after you'd come up with the idea and the script? What was the next step to getting it on screen?
Yeah, it actually started with the costume idea. That's where it first started from, and then it's sort of because I'm a very visual learner, and so it's more visual stuff before I get into the writing stuff, which don't get me wrong, I still like the writing part. I love writing dialogue. That's probably my favorite thing to do in terms of the script writing process. But it definitely started with the costume side of things and the colors, the sort of staple tomato and mustard colors thrown in. And it just eventuated from an idea of like a very, very boring and bland settings and just meshing the two up with kind of like trying to, I guess, color those boring settings with sauce. Yeah. And that's where it came from. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. And so it starts with the costume.
Yeah.
And then you, what's the word I'm looking for? You retroactively wrote the script after that.
Yeah, exactly.
Came out.
Yeah.
And then how did you get it? What was the process of filming and of pre-production of filming and
pre-production? So I mean, my network in Melbourne is sort of still relatively small in terms of my film network, because I was originally from Sydney, or raised in Brisbane, went to Sydney for like 6 years, and then now I'm in Melbourne. I've been here for about 3 or 4 years now. So yeah, my network here is sort of quite small, but honestly, Instagram has been a very powerful tool for me. I'm a huge fan of following sort of cinematographers and filmmakers, and I reached out to this guy Oscar, who I saw his work on Instagram, and I was just like, I want that guy. And I just sent him a message, and I was like, look, I've got this idea, this Sauceman idea, are you interested? He goes, yeah, awesome, let's go grab a beer. We talked about it. I showed him my sketches of all the the costume ideas and all that kind of thing, and he was like, yeah, you've got something here, just put it together, let me know when you want to shoot, because I'm ready to go. And then he brought his friend Hamish along, who's like sort of like the on-set, guy who does everything else around. Yeah, he's like the legend of a guy, just does everything. And I built sort of a little network with them, and they moved on with me from the first one to the second one. And again, reaching out to people on Instagram, like Camille Bergeson, I reached out to her, just said, I've got this idea, do you want to come on board? Yeah. And then my manager, Who Artists, I'm represented by as an actor. I reached out to a number of the actors who I've seen do their other sort of film film stuff on the side as well, like Eleni. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. Sorry, Eleni. But yeah, I reached out to her, said, "Do you want to be involved? Can you help me make this?" And she was like, "Yeah, awesome." So it's really just sort of like asking for favors, I guess.
Yeah, that's a lot of what this industry is. But you are the eponymous Sauceman yourself.
Yeah.
So you are also an actor.
Yeah.
What was your background to getting into filmmaking? Did you start as an actor or did you start as a filmmaker and put yourself in?
Definitely. I mean, it started when I was like very, very young. Since I was like 10, 12 years old, I've been making home videos, just like stupid things. I turned Lord of the Rings into Board of the Things. It was like some thing I did with like family friends and my best friend at the time, where he played the sort of equivalent of Gollum walking around the pool and stuff like that. And instead of the ring, it was like this boring necklace that if you touched it, you'd see all the boring memories in your life.
Oh.
So yeah, I mean, it started when I was really small, but I only started getting really serious about it when it was probably like 6 years ago. Like I said, I started with that No Sauce film, and then I made another one. They've all sort of weirdly been around food. So my second one I made was The Great Chicken Salt Debate. And third one was The Sum of Several Sticky Situations Involving Salami Sticks.
Wow. That's a mouthful.
Yeah. And then fourth one was sort of in terms of budget, that was sort of I put a lot into that one. Probably too much now because didn't really get the sort of eyes or views that I thought that it deserved. Yeah, which, happens.
Yeah.
And then moved to Melbourne and then sort of reworked my plan and what I'm going to try and do and which avenue I'm going to pursue. Do I keep pursuing? Because I'm really into horror comedy and balancing that just right is very tough to nail. So I think with Sauceman, I sort of stayed in the sort of comedy genre a bit more, and that's where I'm sort of a bit more comfortable.
Yep.
And started working on this as I'm working on all these other things. Like at home, I've just got this program that's just got 10 million scripts in it, and I'm just sort of picking away at things at the time.
Yes.
Working on each one as I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not having all your eggs in the one basket and kind of
Exactly.
diversifying yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, like you said before, about period dramas. I've written a period drama that never really took off. I was sort of pitching it as like my baby project that was like meant to be this like huge kind of thing that I could pitch to all these producers, and then they'd come to me and be like, "Yes, we want to fund it." And stuff, but it hasn't happened.
No. It's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah, exactly. Rest assured, I am trying still though. So yeah, I mean,
that's the thing with all of these. You have all these ideas. You write them. Sometimes you write the script. Sometimes you just write like a pitch deck or something, and it's always just sitting in the folder. You're never going to throw it away.
Yeah, exactly.
And so then if you ever do, if Sauceman takes off and then you do get a meeting with the producer, some producer or studio who say, "We really like you. Sauceman's already done. What do we do next?"
Yeah.
And then you've got, "Hey, what about this period drama?"
Yeah,
Is it
exactly.
period drama or a horror comedy?
It's a horror comedy period drama.
Wow, there you go. All of them.
Yeah.
Called the sticky sauce, sticky mouthful of Hungarian salami.
Yeah, it's actually called The Beautiful Beer.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's about
About food.
About food. Yeah, food and drink. And it's a period drama, horror comedy concept where sort of this realm where all men are just complete assholes. Am I allowed to swear on this?
You are.
Yeah, okay,
You are. I don't know how that's any different from regular words.
But yeah, essentially every man in this realm is like a big fuckhead, and these three traveling performers who are all women develop after being accused of witchcraft. They turn into or get possessed by demons somehow, which I won't release yet. Formulate this brew, which ends up being the beautiful beer, which they get men to drink, and they fall under their control.
Wow.
So that's the whole thing.
I feel like maybe we might have to cut this part so that no one takes your ideas from you. So let's circle back to Sauceman.
Yeah.
One thing that we love talking about on this show, Planning to Fail, is all of the, at this independent level where oftentimes we don't have much of a budget behind us. Your budget was for Sauceman.
Oh yeah, very very small, sort of like
yeah.
$2,000 kind of thing. Yeah, that kind
We're independent filmmakers. We're making these films without a huge backing from studios or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that means that we have to make concessions to the work. We have to let the limitations inform us. Do you think that there was anything in Sauceman, anything that you really wanted to do, but you knew that you weren't going to be able to, so you changed direction?
Yeah. I mean, there's many things, especially in the writing process. I'm a big fan of writing massive ideas and then understanding that I need to scale back massively in order for it to work. But there's plenty of things that happen on set, like we were talking about before with the whole squirting the mustard bottle and the top coming off.
Yeah.
Or we had this idea in the second episode was me sliding along on a tray.
Yep.
And it seems quite simple, the idea of sliding along on a tray, but very hard to get right on film. We actually had our cameraman sit on a skateboard.
Yep.
And our soundy was dragging the cameraman on a skateboard backwards while this Hamish bloke and the other soundy had me both under their arms. And I'm a sizable bloke. Like they were essentially carrying me just off the floor just enough for me to sort of slide the tray. And it took about 100 takes to get right. Yeah. And for just a small 2-second take.
But I think what's really lovely about the use of that shot in the episode is how like really slow paced it is, and how everyone's kind of like or the witches in the corner are like watching on like, and how is this going to take long? And it's, I mean, I don't know if you went into it thinking that was going to be the case, but like, or did you know that it was going to be slow and
I think I think I knew that it wasn't going to be this graceful kind of thing. But as long as Sauceman had the mindset of it being graceful, then I think the comedy kind of comes.
Because you leap off afterwards and you kick it up and
yeah. If you can sell that part, that he really believed that was a dramatic entrance. Then.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what about the locations that you were using? Were they difficult to find and source?
Trying to lock down a school. That's probably the wrong use of words.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we want to be talking about locking down schools. This isn't America.
But yeah, trying to, I guess, find a school location, that was so hard. I reached out to probably every sort of primary school, every high school in the Melbourne area, greater Melbourne area, just asking, have you got a cafeteria like area that I can sort of shoot something for like a day, half a day tops. They were all talking about, have you got 10 grand? Yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh God, what am I going to do? And then I started looking at community halls because they have that sort of, the whole like cafeteria like vibe that kind of matches what I'm after. And reached out to Brunswick Neighbourhood House, and they were like, oh my God, that sounds awesome. Come over and check out the space. And I walked in there and I was like, around the corner from my house too.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because I'm based in Brunswick. Yeah. And I was just like, saw the space and was just like, this is kind of perfect. Everything works. And they were like, tell us a bit about the project. I said, it's Sauceman. They said, what the hell's that? And I said,
it's not self-explanatory.
Yeah. And then they were great. The whole process made it so super easy. And they loved the short when I sent it to them. They were all sort of, they were saying that they were sort of carrying around the computer with the popcorn being like, oh, look, there's a hall, so they were really supportive, which was great.
I tend to find people who are not involved in film, who are like, from like small community kind of groups or whatever, they get so excited when they're involved in the film, but then also like looking for the things or looking for themselves if they're like background extras or something. They love it.
Yeah, no, it makes you feel good.
Yeah.
So, one of the reasons why we do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And The Office from the first one, was that?
Yeah, it was a little bit tougher. I mean, I work in finance. I'm a finance wanker. Sorry about it. But
are you apologising for the use of the word wanker or for being in finance?
Yeah, no. It's like when you're a creative at heart, it's tough to be in that environment where you've got to see numbers
Yeah.
all day long,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I think that's what really drives me as well in my creative process. It's like, as long as I've got this on the side that I can work on, then yeah. But in terms of office location, there was sort of Melbourne Uni kind of.
Oh yeah.
They have sort of spots around Lygon Street. And reached out to one of the location managers there, and he was like, "We've got this space if you want to use it."
Cool.
And made it pretty easy, to be honest. So I've been quite lucky in that sense. So far, anyway.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll come to a roadblock.
We'll come to a roadblock. Let's talk about what's next, because you've only filmed the first two episodes.
Yeah.
But you've got a couple more in the tank that you're hoping to get.
Yeah, I've got a
the
total of 6 planned. Yeah.
6 including the 2 that you've already done.
Yeah.
But that is it just kind of you're trickling them out as as time goes on, or are you hoping to secure more financing for them before you pursue it?
So for my last thing I was talking about, the Beautiful Pier thing, I went to sort of Screen Australia and stuff for that because it was kind of my baby project, and they told me to sort of like, yeah, it's good, but come back later sort of thing. We're not going to finance that sort of thing now. And sent me this email, and I was sort of a bit like, oh, boo hoo, that kind of thing.
Yep.
And what I found is that I guess when I come into the room to pitch now, I want to have the weight of the full 6 episodes behind me. So I can be like, look, I didn't just create this one short film. I didn't just, do this small thing. This is sizable. It's got 6 episodes behind it. I've got a whole bunch planned for the future. There's a bit more, I guess, weight behind my my argument now. So that's what I'm looking to do. I'm going to sort of approach the next 4 like I have done with these 2, and then when I get into the pitching room, I'll go. If I decide I want to go further with it, then I'll, come at it with, I guess, more of an army.
Yeah, you've got the proof that you can pull it off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But is the next step after those 6, is that another series of Sauceman, or is that you're going to take that into the room for the Beautiful Beer, or whatever other projects that you want to say, this is what I've already done. I'm proving to you that I can follow through with this idea.
Yeah.
Now we've got this other idea. Like which of those?
I think it would be more so. It'd be a situation where I'd walk into the room with those 6 episodes behind me, and I'd say, okay, I think Sauceman has the potential to be something bigger now, and sort of focus on that first.
Yeah.
And then if that ever eventuated, which I'm not saying it would, if that did happen, then I can use that as my loop back in to be like, okay, now what's my next thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So combination of
of the
basically.
2.
Yeah. So then, all right, let me talk about the Sauceman cinematic universe, because obviously if you've got these 6 episodes, great.
Yeah.
Where does it go from there? Because here's what I'm dying to know.
Yeah.
Does Sauceman have an arch nemesis?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Let's keep that on the wraps. Then
Let's keep that on the wraps. Yeah.
Does Sauceman it get like a sidekick or something?
Well, I was playing with that idea. I haven't written a sidekick yet, because honestly, this is the only reason why. I'm a huge Batman fan, and I hate Robin.
Yep.
So
yeah, I think not, it's the sort of thing, if you are making films around the pool at age 12, the person who's in charge gets to be Batman, and then the person like the younger brother or someone else gets relegated to Robin and resents it for the rest of their life.
Yeah, I mean, if I could write something in there that would be, a good enough concept to work with, then by all means I'm open to it. But I just haven't sort of given it the time.
What about like an Avengers style team up of Sauceman and a bunch of other flavor superheroes?
That's potential as well. Yeah. I like to focus on the villains though. I think the villains are the
what do you call it? The sinister the rogues gallery.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they're sort of the most fun to write because Sauceman's kind of, he can be injected into sort of any scenario, but these characters have all their own backstories as well, and can potentially move forward depending on how you approach the situation. So like with the cafeteria ladies that have been done and all that kind of stuff, and the boring office situation where those characters, all those office workers, you know, they all have different lives and stuff like that you
Yeah.
play with.
Yeah.
But I've got more, I guess, heightened villains
Yes.
coming into it.
Super villains.
Super villains, yes,
Yeah.
yes. I've got a sort of a German couple that refuse to put sauce on their sausages. Yes. And they have sort of like a cult-like attitude towards sauce.
Sauce. As they say,
As they say in
maybe.
And then I've got actually growing up with my family, I used to watch MasterChef a lot. And so I love the idea of a sort of like a food talk, like a food show.
Yeah.
And having that sort of as the set, the location of, you know, all these people trying to create things for judges. And if we could heighten that scenario where you have the judges are sort of looking for that extra something, but they don't get it from, you know, just this fine cuisine. What is that something that they're missing?
It's a little bit of ketchup.
It's sauce, yeah. Just a little bit of, you know, just it gives it the on the end. Yeah. And so there's that as well that I'm working with. And then I'd love to do a Christmas episode, which I have the plans to sort of work in Santa Claus somehow.
Yep.
Where he's sort of entering the house through the to the chimney, and then you know how you leave out sort of milk and cookies for him. Yeah. He sort of has a cookie. There's no milk. There's no chocolate sauce, and so
Dry cookie.
dry cookie.
Yeah.
Who wants that?
Yeah.
So all those little scenarios
Yeah,
I'm sort of working with on the side. Yeah.
If you had an unlimited budget and if you had producers and a studio backing you and saying from the get-go, we love Sauceman, let's do it. Let's have a 40-minute episode on Disney Plus or something like that. Do you think that there's anything that you would change about it, or like all of the things that you discovered, do you think you'd keep them in? And
100%. Yeah, I definitely keep what I have, because without that, I mean, like what you said before, basically, you learn from your mistakes along the way, and you know, and your greatness, let's call it, like the things you do well, you learn from those as well.
Yeah.
And so if I hadn't made those 2 episodes, I sort of wouldn't know where to work in what's happening next.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
So it's like working with all that. If I got this huge budget all of a sudden, one, I'd probably pass out from happiness, just being able to have the freedom to do literally whatever you want. But there's also, with that, with great power comes great responsibility. That quote of Spider-Man.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'd approach it in a way that's like, still take the flavor of the indie style, but
Pardon the pun.
pardon the pun. But also, I guess, heighten the stakes even more.
Yeah.
With the heightened budget. So, yeah.
Zad, do you think what you think you might do with season 2 of it? Just like, heighten the stakes.
Yeah. I think the comedy from Sauceman comes from the situational comedy, and also it's very sort of physical comedy. It's like, you know, what we're talking about is essentially so stupid, like it means nothing.
Yeah.
But because of the characters involved, it means so much.
Yes.
Yeah. And so you could take that to ridiculous levels.
Yeah. But I also think because of that, because the stakes are, well, the stakes are really high, but at the same time, if you actually look at it, like, they're not actually that. They're very low stakes.
Yeah.
Because of that, it almost would be a little bit, not to talk you out of actually getting financing or anything, but it wouldn't have the same charm to it if it was big budget and like a big studio behind it. I think it's a lot of the charm comes from how, I don't know, guerrilla it is in a way. GEU guerrilla. How kind of cobbled together. If I can. I mean, like, it's beautifully shot. Don't get me wrong. I'm not
Thanks, Oscar.
Thanks, Oscar. It looks fantastic, but like, because of the fact that it is an independent production, that's where a lot of the charm comes from. And if you had a big studio backing that.
Yeah. And I think a lot of, when you get that heightened studio finance behind you, they get a lot of the say. And it goes away from becoming sort of this blossoming flower
Yeah.
in a way to just being one of the weeds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and in that
That's it.
sense, when what you were saying before about like finishing season 1 or
Yeah.
finishing those 6 episodes, and then using that as kind of like the proof.
Yeah.
In a sense, if you do that, if you put your own money and time behind that, you know, experience the pain now.
Yeah.
The payoff later is that you will hopefully have more of that power in the negotiating room to say, no, I've already done this. This Sauceman is my baby.
Yeah.
You can back me up if you want,
Yeah.
but I already know what I'm doing here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It just gives you a bit more, because they've got all the power when you walk into that room.
Yep.
So it just gives you a bit more of, I guess, weight behind your punch.
Yeah. Come in and say, do you want to be in the Sauceman train? The Sauceman train's leaving the station. Do you want to get on board?
Yeah, exactly.
So aside from Sauceman, what's next for Oli?
In terms of what, like other projects?
Other projects,
Yeah. I'm also working on a horror anthology.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's 3 concepts. The first one is when I was younger, my dad told me about this sort of like really creepy dream that he had. And it was like this bloke or figure, like shadow figure, standing at the end of the room wearing a top hat. And didn't move, just stood there. And
Like a sleep paralysis thing?
yeah, that kind of thing. And he told me about it, and then I had the same dream.
Oh, yep.
And then I looked it up, and it's like, if you actually go online...
Oh, don't tell me about it. God,
no,
damn
seriously,
it.
if you go online, there's actually an American documentary made about it.
Yeah.
And they all say they all draw the same figure.
Oh, God.
It's called the Hat Man, or the Night Stalker, or the Sleep Stalker. Yeah. So I've got that as an idea to work with. And the second one is...
I love that, just to interrupt you, I love that you've basically like The Ring cursed myself and our producer, and basically everyone watching this at home is now cursed with the Hat Man.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you've just said it out. Yeah.
Yeah, if you go and go to sleep tonight and you see the Hat Man, then
That's because of you.
because of me.
Well, hey, thanks for coming and talking about Sauceman.
No worries.
I'm dying to see what happens next with it because this whole cinematic universe is just expanding before our eyes. And
Yeah.
I want to know what's coming up. But thank you so much for coming, and thanks for talking about Sauceman.
No worries. Thanks for having me, mate.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah.